What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk about who wants to become a DTC whale. So who wants to become a DTC whale? I really want to talk about this topic because when you run the numbers, it gets kind of interesting. So a lot of people, I call it the second generation of Steemians that came in January of 2018. Their experience, or many of their, they saw like they came in on maybe the third kind of bull season of Steam. So Steam had one in 2016. It had one in 2017. I also think summertime. I think I may be wrong, and then it had one there 2018. So I think that Steam wave, the second Steam wave, they and especially those that has hanged around, I think they have a very good understanding of Steam, and I think that they have learned a lot by using Steam, and if they're still using Steam, and maybe seeing that some things, Steam is good for social blogging. And I think what I'm doing right here, I think this is social blogging. But I'm not sure if Steam is the best token for video, like for video rewards, because it wasn't designed with that intent. It was not designed for video. It was not a token designed for video. It was designed more for social blogging rewards. And if you really dive deeper into it, you look at many people that did this social blogging, they did not hold the Steam. They sold the Steam. So then you sort of have to look at this and question, why did they do that? Why did they sell the Steam? Now, there probably is many factors involved in this, and I don't think it's like easy to like looking at stuff. Go back and look at stuff. It's like it's when people do something the first time, I mean, you don't really know how stuff is gonna play out, right? But it's really interesting with when I've been following DTube and been doing videos uh, on DTube since January 2018. That was always for me the thing that I really enjoyed a lot, and that was that you could really see that video was very well rewarded. And what I feel is, or what I see is as, I mean, there was a lot of people that did social blogging on Steam, extremely well rewarded, but they did not hold the tokens. And I'm not really sure why, but it almost seems as they didn't want to keep do the social blogging thing. But it feels like it's almost a little bit different, I think, with video creators. For me personally, I think that they really want to hold. I think they really want to hold. I really, because maybe it has to do that they feel that they're a little bit more invested in the platform because they're doing videos. Who knows? But it seems like video creators, for some reason, that they want to hold, you know? So yeah, who wants to become a DTC whale? I ran the numbers and it's kind of fascinating. So if the starting supply of DTC is only going to be 4 million, that means in relative influence, not price, but in relative influence, if you measure compared to the amount of Steam tokens that exist compared to the DTC that exists. If you look at relative influence in the network, one DTC in relative terms is going to be like one DTC is going to be like 87 Steam in relative influence. That means just because it has Steam has 87 times larger supply. 87 times. I'm going to say that again. 87 times larger supply. That means one DTC relative influence is going to be as if you would have 87 Steam. That also means if you have 1000 Steam, it's in relative influence, there's going to be like holding 11 DTC. So when I just run the numbers, it's very, very fascinating. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers, I run them, and it's like, whoa, that's very, very, very interesting, especially for video creators. It's really, really interesting. Now, personally, I think that Steam also will benefit if DTube is like huge. I think that Steam still is gonna like benefit from that, of course, because everything like connects. All these chains, like when they're closer to each other and when they have pairs against each other, it's like everyone that is operating in those ecosystem, they kind of benefit. But it still is one of these fascinating things. I mean, 87. 87. So I think there's around 370 million Steam or 360 million Steam and only 4 million DTC. Huh. That's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play out. So the starting, so first they had a plans of do 100 million, but then they look at how many sales they got from the 1 million DTC that they had in one token sale, and they kind of switched up how they are doing things. So one thing I think you may see is like a lot of people that maybe do one video now, they may do like 5 or 10 videos and like really good videos if they see that DTC, the game theory ecosystem works. Like if they see that it works, they may start to do 5 or 10 videos per day. And I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's not really that much, because I've done over 9,000 videos on YouTube. And it's like, it's not that hard, to be honest. When someone gets going, and if they enjoy doing something, it's not really that hard to like keep it up. And also that with new technology, better smartphones, most people will have a front-facing camera or a rear camera that is really high quality resolution. And just because it's so, let's say, cheap to produce a video now, yeah, they can put it, you can put it on the YouTube, but it takes such a long time to just get a little bit of rewards, right? So it's like, so it's almost as if with DTC you can use like 100x the reward system, you know, but you know, it's because the video thing that people have been doing on YouTube or whatever, wherever people now are doing the video thing, that already like goes so easy. So it kind of makes sense then to just combine a token. And when you have a token that's designed just for video, it gets really interesting, right? It gets really interesting. I have like waited a long time to like see if someone else would try to do this. But I don't think they're really good at doing such a good job with it. because many other video token so-called platforms, they're doing it the wrong way. They're like doing it as a donation platform, and it's like nobody wants to donate. You must like bake it in a smart way. For example, how YouTube is gonna work is it's all gonna be based on curation. So you kind of, if you want some rewards, you kind of have to vote. But I see all these other platforms that are kind of trying to do video and token. They sort of want to do it like, oh, you don't have to give a reward, like you can give a token, or no, you can give a donation. But when you give a donation, you're sort of handing over your tokens that you earned, which is like not really what people want to do. They want to give out some kind of reward pool or something like that instead. So it's like you really have to do it the right way. There was some other systems that sort of tried to do this as well, like with a token, but usually what their mistake is, I would say, is they focus on this fast-paced content, like TikTok content or like Instagram story content. The content is useless in many ways, and you see it because it's like it's not that engaging, it's not that fun, it doesn't retain people, and it has no staying power, and it doesn't, you can't build anything on it. It's like because people just do some quick thing and then they don't stay consistent. So it's like what they kind of fail with, most of these platforms that try to do video and token, is they don't really consider that people really want real value. They want real content. They don't want nonsense. Just because we can do a bunch of like short form stuff, it doesn't mean like it's gonna be like smart to attach a token to it. You know, it's a lot of stuff in theory can work, but you know, like in theory, you can like attach a token to that, like super fast-paced short form content, and like make it work in some way. But it usually doesn't work, right? What usually happens is people don't feel that they are so invested in something, so they don't really even then care about the token, right? So so it's kind of important that you kind of try to design a system where the value goes to, let's say, the believers or people that are doing value, and that has more of a long-term look at things. So DTC, it seems like it's going to be the chance for a lot of video creators to become a whale, and to really like grow your your whale influence on a video network. And I think that is super fascinating, because I mean, in a way, it's a bit almost like 2010 again, when Instagram came, and they did not have a token. They were just kind of photos, but it was still kind of something new, kind of interesting, that they kind of had this like photo sharing platform and like got in all these people. You know, it's and this time it's more, yeah, I think this time it's with video and with real rewards. It gets really interesting, you know? So a lot of people probably will have a chance here to become a whale, and I'm not sure how YouTube is going to play out, but I can see that I've seen the testnet and I've seen people use it, and it sort of seems like people are going to keep use it, you know? I mean, the testnet has been out since last summer, right? And haven't really seen that many problems come up, you know? So, and you know, so it's interesting. So it's going to be fascinating to sort of see how it plays out, and who becomes a whale, and who is interested in becoming a whale, you know? It's going to be interesting to see if people hold a DTC, or if instantly like try to sell it or something like that. There were a lot of cool things that a lot of people. It's like it's very important with any new token system that's being like launched. If you want, let's say, influence, you kind of have to be an early adopter of something. Because if you come later, a couple of years later, usually most of the biggest rewards, the early guys probably got them, you know. And this keeps happening with a lot of tokens that gets released, and you really want to be like an early person in something, even if something may not become like the biggest thing in the universe. You're probably gonna get the most rewards being early in something, you know. And it seems like this industry eventually is going to. It seems like people are getting smarter in some ways. Like people are starting to see patterns of what projects fails, what is a bad idea, what is a good idea. I think a lot of people have learned a lot more about that in a very short period of time, just like 2 years. Like people seem to know way more about tokens and what's smart, what's silly, and and a lot of it's kind of funny. Like I looked at tokens, who has in terms of liquidity, you see that a lot of these big tokens they don't really have that much liquidity, especially if you consider them be out for 10 years. I mean, I looked at Ethereum; it only has like 200 million liquidity. It may sound like a lot, but consider this is a token that has been here for 5 years, 6 years, something like that. I mean, it's nice, but it's not like a global economy scale. Uh, and if you look at some other tokens also that are in like the top 10, like some are like 60 million liquidity. It's not that much if you consider it that we have billionaires, like you have people on earth with $100 billion, like one person, and a top 10 crypto with like $60 million in liquidity. It's not that impressive, to be honest. mm, and you see how some tokens are being pumped, and it's like you kind of start to note the patterns that is more creating a show in front of people's faces. But it's fascinating when you find tokens that are a little bit less discovered, or like stuff that probably has more long-term potential, you know. And I think that DTC is something that can really be long-term. I don't see video going away anytime soon. It kind of looks like video is going to grow, right? It looks like video is going to grow. So it would be kind of smart to have like a token attached to it and like, see how that plays out. It's very interesting when you look at different blockchains. You sort of start to notice this pattern of each blockchain usually have like one killer app or something like that people use way more than all the other things combined. So if you look at like dapp.com, you can sort of start to see that, and it seems to be the general trend, right? That most people eventually gravitate to like one killer feature on each chain. And people had this idea that we would do like super amazing stuff everywhere, but it seems like it doesn't really play out so well. It seems like people find these niche things that works great, and then other people try to copy them, but usually when they try to copy it, something that works usually doesn't work out as well. Sometimes it does when people are really smart and they really innovate on something. And it really seems like DTube with Avalon Chain, it seems like they're innovating by learning from Steam and just building a better game theory system. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think there's around, with the scheduled, like at the moment, launch date, It is in 78 days, I think, or 77 days. It's not that far away, to be honest. Time moves pretty fast, I would say. So it's gonna be interesting, you know. Have a great day, DTube and Steam blockchain. Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating to see who wants to become a DTC whale, who's gonna hold them. It's gonna be interesting to see video creators with a lot of like buy-in in terms of they invest a lot of time and energy. Do they really want to sell that DTC? It's gonna be interesting to see, to be honest. Yeah. Have a great day, DTube and Steam blockchain. Bye bye.